2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Panther fans, what's the deal? It's Tony Dunn, the professor. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. We're here on Shindig trying to work through the kinks and the ruffles and the kerfuffles to bring you the longest running Panthers podcast out there. I'm here with my homeboys, Cody Lashney in the house. How you doing?
I'm doing well, but it says you're connecting and it says I'm connecting.
I can hear y'all.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling
Oh, you're right. The YouTube chat does say that.
All right.
Oh.
Yay. Now
All
we just
right.
got to wait on Cody. I'm telling you, Cody has been so excited about blasting into this shindig. Good Lord. And it's a pain in my ass. I tell you that. What the most pain in my ass is live streaming. They can hear us. Hopefully Cody Lashney will be back in a second. Tonight's episode of Super Bowl week makes for sad Panther fans as we conclude the 2019-2020 season. And this is the 52nd Tuesday or weekly show we've done. We've also done some impromptu episodes, some bonus episodes, post-game episodes. And this concludes, I believe, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, our 7th full season where we don't miss a beat talking about the Carolina Panthers. Cody Lashney, are you around, my friend?
I am. Thank God. I am here. I'm back. I see everybody's face on the YouTube video. This is our first time using Shindig, people. There's going to be some bumps. We haven't used this in a while, but if we try and get this going again, it will better the content that we're putting out to you, man. But let me do my usual spiel, man. The chat room is already lit. RT1981, yes, my mother. Love you, Mom, in the chat room. Real Ashton, Blake Bettis, Sarah Taylor, Underground West, Trill One. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, Tony Dunn. Brother, let's roll.
The Bat Daddy in the house. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Trying to get through these difficulties with Shindig, but I don't know as much better as y'all do, so we'll just roll with the punches.
Well, thanks for carrying us in CK in the car. He's a man that never quits.
Man, tell you what, I'm actually really excited about Shindig. I think it adds a extra layer of, as Cody said, content that we can provide, and looking forward to that. I've been racking my brain what we're going to talk about today, but I'm sure somehow in true C3 fashion, we're going to find a way to drag this along for 2.5 hours. So.
Oh, no way. No way. Our goal is to make it to
And that's how you know it'll happen, because Tony said no way.
Right.
No, we're trying to make it to 2020. We're trying to make it into tomorrow. How about that? If I will that into effect, if I say we're trying to make it till midnight, we will be done in like 8 minutes. Yeah. Oh, gosh, we are not doing it. All right, so guys, the Super Bowl is approaching. And to be honest, it is made for a quiet time for Carolina Panthers news. I think, if anything, there have been some additions to the coaching staff. And that's about it, guys. When it comes to Panther news, has anybody heard anything?
So yeah, go ahead, man.
Go ahead. I was going to say, obviously, the Chase Blackburn rehire. That's really the biggest news. But I think the biggest news has got to be, I don't know if we had the conversation last Tuesday if this had come out yet, but Matt Rule showing heavy interest in wanting to bring Luke back as a part of the organization in some capacity. So I don't think we've actually had a full-blown conversation about that interview that Matt Rule did, and he said that. So I don't know, maybe that's one thing we could talk about tonight.
Well, Chase, what I like is they interviewed Chase Blackburn, which I don't know if this is a good hire back or whatever it may be, but they came out and said something very supportive. Matt Rule said he is not retaining Chase Blackburn. He is hiring him. He got the job. I like that. Matt Rule is smart in those types of things. I think that's a good way of phrasing it. We're not just holding on to you because you're a relic of something. That's okay. We want you to be part of this staff. Now, when it comes to Luke Kuechly, I do think it's heartening to hear that Matt Rule would be interested in bringing him back. What else did he say? Or bringing him in. But I'm so scared he's going to be a Redskin coach, dude.
I don't know, man.
I don't see. Maybe if you wanted to be under the guidance of Ron Rivera, but dude, I think part of the thing is he loves the situation that he's in and the life that he lives and the teammates that he has, and I think being a Panthers coach would continue him being able to play a part in the sport that he so loves, yet also with the people that he loves to participate in it with, just in a different fashion. I don't think it's going anywhere. I hope it happens, man. I'm really loving all the moves that we're making, man. All the coaching hires that we're going to talk about Phil Snow a little more. And if Shindig doesn't take a dump in the middle of the show, I'll show you guys some clips I grabbed. But I think all the coaching hires have been superb on every level. And Luke Kuechly coming to this coaching staff would be incredible. And it's looking like we're probably going to end up having to draft another linebacker this year just because we're so thin. So whoever we bring in, having Luke Kuechly as a teacher and a mentor, man, that would be second to none.
Yeah. Well, I actually didn't hear anything about – I heard about something about this, but I heard or read articles about Luke Kuechly saying he wanted to move on to coaching. But I didn't hear anything about Matt Rule wanting Kuechly. I may have just missed something, but I haven't found anything connecting him to wanting to be with the Panthers. It just seems like it would make sense for him to want to be with the Panthers. But I didn't see Matt Rule wanting him.
And then a few Twitter accounts are putting out that there's some big news for the Panthers coming soon. Somebody in our chat room, in fact, already alluded to it. I think it was RT81. But yeah, apparently there's some big news that's apparently cooking, according to a few different Twitter accounts. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. A lot of people are speculating that Luke Kuechly joining the staff is what it is. But, it could be a number of things. So who knows?
CK, what are your thoughts on the Blackburn hire?
Consistency in that, I guess, is not a bad thing. It's an interesting, concept. I've always been a fan of Blackburn, except for I think that last year our special teams was a big weakness of ours, but I think everything was a big weakness of ours. So,
our special teams have been a weakness forever. I think that the only time we had any signs of hope when it came to special teams was that first stint with Ted Ginn.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been a revolving door of fumbles and bullshit and terrible. We can't ever we just haven't been able to win field position battles since 2015.
Yeah, I agree. But if you guys want to continue, I'm gonna be radio silent until I can get my PC up and running, and I'll be right back.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Now, Cody, your thoughts on the Blackburn hire?
Yeah, so listen, I mean, I really don't know. I have really genuinely no idea how he's going to be as a head coach. I don't know, what qualities Matt Rule sees in him, but and I'm not. What I mean is, I don't know enough about it. If he won the job, if he thought that he was worth the hire, then I trust Matt Rule's judgment. I mean, I'm on that train of. I have no reason to doubt Matt Rule yet. I mean, once the season goes on, you guys know I'm going to give you my clear-cut opinion on everything. If I think the coaches are doing well or not, we're all going to do that. But right now, like I said earlier, all these coaching hires have been really tremendous. I think that we've done better than any NFL team right now during this period in hiring a new staff. And I'm not just being like a Homer fan. Like, I really do believe that. So I think that if Chase Blackburn, some people are better coaches than they are players. So I'm hoping that that's the case with Chase. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. And maybe we can have a pretty solid special teams unit for once.
All right, so I guess the other news is, or not news, but Phil Snow is kind of in the news, and he addressed the local Panthers media today in a conference call. And, he has, I was listening I live in a college town, and they had the baseball coach come on for East Carolina and do essentially that first year, whatever it is, the opening press conference, right? Where they, for the boosters and people that buy the table or whatever. And he said that he was going to go do a lot of talking, but not say anything. He said, I'm going to do a lot of talking, but I'm not going to say anything. So I feel like that's kind of what we get with these coaches right now. And so, what are they really going to say at this point, this early in the stage, about what they see in the defense going forward? But what Phil Snow sounds like is, and both Matt Rule, they both sound like they are adaptable and flexible, is kind of at the heart of their football philosophy. I'm just worried, like some of it seems like so all old ball coach talk is like, we're just going to play fast and physical. And play to, I guess that's what you got to say, right?
I do want to point out that that's what I said I had a problem with in the beginning, with saying a lot of words, or saying a lot of stuff, but not saying anything.
That does sound like Greg's argument.
That's what I said, and everybody goes, now 2 weeks later.
Well, all right. So let me intervene and further test out our shindig here. I want to show you all why I'm really liking this hire with Phil Snow, because what a lot of people really don't it doesn't dawn on them is that when you're a coach, you're a teacher. And Tony said this a number of times. You have to be a teacher first and foremost, especially for these dudes that are coming out of college and they're not totally used to the NFL game. It's going to be important that you have a guy that can teach them the right things to do. And I want to play this clip for everybody, and hopefully it goes well.
Okay, so the reason I slide and don't jump the bubble, okay, so what I do is I go here, Chris Bubbles. I get visual right now. And the reason I'm sliding, I can see whether he throws it. If he throws it, I'm gone to this. But I see how I'm in the window of the slant? So it helps the corner. But now if the ball, he's throwing it there, you got to what? Go. But you slide, get visual.
Volume,
do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Here we go.
I hear it.
Normally, if this guy hooks up at 5 yards, are we getting a post behind it? No, it's Marlboro. All right? But you guys understand that? All right? So if he goes shallow across, we can be getting...
Well, no, not us. So it's the video. I think it's when I do the layouts. So, well, let me pause this. Okay. So yeah, I think it's just when I transition. Let me try it one more time, and then if it doesn't work, then I'll try and play it normally.
Okay. So the reason I slide and don't jump the bubble, okay, so what I do is I go here, Chris Bubbles. I get visual right now. And the reason I'm sliding, I can see whether he throws it. If he throws it, I'm gone to this. But I see how I'm in the window of the slant, so it helps the corner. But now if the ball, he's throwing it there, you got to what? Go.
I hit that.
But you
so
slide,
far
get
behind
visual.
because
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
It did the same thing. Damn it. I don't know why.
Froze again. Why?
Yeah, so now we got dead air. I don't know, man. That's disappointing.
So what we got here is that I saw Josh from Mass say trade Shindig to Buffalo.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have to. I don't know why it's doing that. I feel like maybe if I played it normally, normally it wouldn't do that. But I don't know.
Let me see if I can play my file. And this is one that's gonna make y'all sad. Let's see if this one works.
Oh no, I don't want to be sad.
But is that contract with McCaffrey going to get a little bit ugly here?
Yes, absolutely, for a variety of reasons. One, Chris McCaffrey is a businessman first. This is a guy that was on the forefront of, I'm not going to play my bowl game because
we'll see if it even works.
Picture,
like, I feel like we're
about
watching
that?
it and
This
nobody
year,
else is seeing it.
To me, he was seemingly healthy. Gets the Pro
The
Bowl.
YouTube chat's behind, so
Limited risk of injury. Doesn't want to play.
it looks like it's playing on YouTube.
Number 3, Joel Siegel is the agent.
Yeah, it is
Joel
playing.
Siegel represented Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson, after his third year, had a nearly preseason-long holdout for the Titans and dramatically changed the running back market in 2011. Signed for about $13.5 million per year when the market was basically $8.6. Given that he's got a whole new coaching staff, new offensive coordinator, strike while the iron is hot, particularly as a running back. I expect this one to be.
All right, so look, the video worked for me, Cody.
Yeah, so Alex Stark brought it up, and I know that's what it is. Once we try and enlarge the video, it freezes and it doesn't play, and it was doing that before. But all right, so do you want me to try the Phil Snow video again? And
one last time for our viewers who cannot get enough of Phil Snow's frozen self.
Well, we'll see.
Okay. So the reason I slide and don't jump the bubble.
Dead air.
Okay, so what I do is I go here, Chris Bubbles. I get visual right now.
I hear it as an echo.
And the reason I'm sliding, I can see whether he throws it. If he throws it, I'm gone to this. But I see how I'm in the window of the slant, so it helps the corner. But now if the ball, he's throwing it there, you got to what? Go. But you slide, get visual. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. There we go.
Yeah, it works.
Normally, if this guy hooks up at 5 yards, are we getting a post behind it? No, it's Marlboro. All right? All right? But you guys understand that? All right? So, but if he goes shallow across, we can be getting what over here now? Post. So I will help you guys with route combinations, all right? But if you make a mistake, where do you make a mistake? No, yeah, you're deep, driving the what? The dig. We don't get beat on the what? Post. You guys understand that?
So as you can see there, man, yeah, Phil Snow is a coach. He is interested in making sure that all of these guys are doing their due diligence, that they know their assignments, that they are where they need to be at the right time, that they know what coverage they're supposed to be in. I mean, if you really, you could show a clip of anyone coaching and try and glean things of what they're saying, but I can kind of tell from his voice that really there's a dedication to excellence in the craft that I think Phil Snow kind of demonstrates. So I'm happy about this hiring. Alex Stark says Phil is all about that smoke. I 100% agree with you, man. I think that he's going to bring an energy to this defense that we haven't seen in a while. I kind of think the Ron Rivera and Eric Washington, I kind of think that after you spend so many years listening to the same voices coaching you over and over, I think maybe it's kind of inevitable that you eventually start to tune them out a little bit. So I think a different voice, a fresh voice, is really going to do our defense a lot of good.
I like the teaching component.
Oh, yeah. I'll just say I don't really know anything about a lot of these coaches, and I really don't have any kind of idea what's going on. So what I decided to do was, like I was just saying in the chat a moment ago, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch and see what happens. I'm not going to get mad about anything I don't know about. But, like I was saying, the talking doesn't convince me about anything. I kind of want to see some results, and I can't see that now, so I can't hold that against the coaching and Matt Rule and all his new hires. And I don't know anything about it, man. I really don't. That's not really my, I guess.
Well, there's nothing really to know, right? There's nothing to know.
Yeah.
There's right now is that we can either choose to believe that these guys aren't going to work, or we can choose to believe that they are. But a lot of the things that we have been talking about for the last 7 years on this podcast, when it comes to the coaching staff that the Carolina Panthers have, and some of the concerns, like they can't control injuries, they can't control a lot of different things. So it's not all on the coaching staff, but we have repeatedly talked about a set of weaknesses or some things that we wish were different when it came to that staff. I think some of those concerns were slightly tempered after the all in or all or nothing series, where we thought we saw so much charisma when it came to Ron Rivera, when it came to Cam Newton. But like when you go back to it, is Ron Rivera, we always talked shit about him with the clock management. We talked about how he was conservative until he couldn't be anymore. We talked about how the offensive coordinators and some of these guys, whether it goes back to Ken Dorsey being a quarterback's coach for Cam Newton, we questioned at sometimes their ability to teach. So, and motivate. And what we've seen is a level, at least we've seen those things. I feel like it's like this, Cody, is I was a big President Obama supporter. He was my dude, right? And I talked so much smack about George W. back in the day because of ultimately how unpolished he was, I felt like, as a speaker. But now I wish we could have old W back so much. But so as I'm out there and people are talking shit to me about my man Obama, they'll be like, just because he talks nicely and speaks well doesn't mean he knows what the hell he's doing. And I think this is that saying the right thing should not be held against you. Right? Yeah. Speaking well should not be held against you. So, hey, we've seen about the only things we can see from this staff. And what else are we supposed to say, right, Cody?
Yeah. And it's not necessarily even about spoken well. Like, I get Greg's point. Like, whenever you hear these conferences, there's a lot of, new time press conference coach speak. And that goes without saying. But I do think that every once in a while, depending on what they say, you can actually glean some decent information about what they intend to do. And I know Phil Snow spoke recently and he was talking about, he doesn't know what we're going to run yet, if it's a 3-4 or a 4-3, because he's like, well, you have to know what kind of personnel you have in order to dictate what you're going to be able to run. And I feel
we don't have our personnel. We don't even have our personnel.
And I feel like a lot of Panthers fans last season, even in our chat room, were saying that we're just not quite built to run the 3-4. So, I think that he's already kind of speaking to some of the issues that we have been very vocal about already.
Do you want us to go back to 3-4? I mean, the 4-3?
To me, I'm kind of like I'm hot or cold. To me, it doesn't matter. I think that you can build a really effective defense using both of them. I would probably say that a 3-4 is easier to draft for and build, but I think a truly dominant 4-3, like what San Francisco is running right now, is probably, in my estimation, the best defense that you can field. But you can do them both and be able to stop the run and stop the pass if you're coached effectively.
Yeah, I agree.
When it comes to the going back to the 3-4 or the 4-3, is, do we have a bad taste in our mouth for a 3-4 scheme because it didn't work well? Where we, instead of it truly not being effective, we struggled against 3-4 so much as offense over the last whatever. I felt like Pittsburgh always destroyed us. We had trouble against, who else was it that ran a 3-4? That just
Denver, obviously.
Yeah. So, and we had some problems with that. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say as one superior or inferior, but it's hard to compare any defense to that of San Francisco because they have 4 studs right there.
Right.
And then you don't have to blitz. You don't have to send anybody, and that we don't have any studs.
No, well, also I would say,
it's KK.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that we have no studs, and I think Joe McCoy is good too. But I would also say this: one of the nastiest 4-3 defenses that I've ever seen. They both happened in the same year. It was the Carolina Panthers in 2013, and it was that Seattle Seahawks with the Legion of Boom. And neither the Panthers nor Seattle had top 5 picks at every spot on the D line. So it's all about coaching. Can you coach your physical potential effectively? Meaning, do you know what kind of players you have? Are they in the right position to succeed? And that's the one thing that I'm gleaming from all of our coaching hires is that everyone wants to optimize the talent that we have on roster. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Thoughts, CK?
Hopefully this is working for me and my connection. You guys are very digitally distorted, so I think it might be my internet. But man, I guess I wanted to make one point, I guess, about the Phil Snow thing before we moved away from that. Tony, you said you wanted to use the chalkboard. I got the dry erase board here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Make sure that's not a Sharpie. If that's a Sharpie, he just ruined his kid's thing.
Should I
Dry erase.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Should I try and emphasize his layout so that way we can all get a better? Okay, let's try
it. You guys see this red X?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Brian Burns. Keep him on the field. You'll be good.
Yeah. Oh!
I thought that whole board was the Panthers sideline.
Damn, I feel like I just learned a whole lot, and I wasn't expecting to learn that much. But cool.
Right.
I'm happy to know.
Okay, so there's still so much to be determined when it comes to the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, of course it's connecting. Okay, so that's the thing. Until we can figure it out, whenever we go full screen, it doesn't matter if it's a video or if it's one of us. It just takes its shit. So we'll have to
knock them out.
They didn't even get to see CK's joke.
Oh yeah,
that sucks.
All right, well, he might have to drop out and then drop back in. Let me see. Can you try the stop broadcast, start broadcast?
We'll see. Let me see what it does on the broadcast, and I'll
so the coaching staff is saying a bunch of stuff, but isn't saying anything, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what all they can do. What about the coaching staffs in other places now? The Super Bowl's approaching, and as we're sitting here languishing for news, the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs are, going to head to this Super Bowl. How are your feelings when it comes to the Super Bowl, and as we struggle, are you guys struggling with it? Is that I'm so excited about this game, but then I see these stupid stories and tweets about 2015. It makes me sad.
Well, what are you seeing about 2015?
Like the Athletic, Joe Person put out a story of like, here are the plays that could have helped us win, and then went through like the drop, the missed catch, the whatever, And so I've been sad. I've been in my feelings because really now thinking back, because I always think back to that Panthers Super Bowl whenever we get around the Super Bowl time, and I gotta say that in retrospect, that Super Bowl loss was the beginning of the end. For what we are now. For this, it was the beginning of this ends right here.
Mm-hmm. No, I kind of feel that way too. It seemed like it's gone all downhill since that moment. Like that was as high as we were going to get. We were almost there. It's weird, man. When you talk about looking at the 2015 stuff and how it kind of makes you sad, or like seeing it, when we went into 2003, man, and I was in college, my best friend's birthday was Super Bowl Sunday, and he was a Patriots fan, and we were watching the game together, and he actually bought the Super Bowl edition of the they always pass it or put it on ESPN to buy the season and watch Super Bowl. And I used to borrow it from him just to see the Panthers play in the Super Bowl.
Oh gosh!
So for me, just seeing him
That's
in there,
sad.
It is sad, man. But for just seeing him in there makes me happy. So I don't mind seeing the 2015 stuff. It reminds me of greatness that I haven't seen in a long time.
Brad Dugan saw the Athletic story, and he said that he responded, if Ron and the coaching staff would have made halftime adjustments or in-game adjustments, we would have had a Super Bowl. I tweeted, Joe Person kind of bucked up a little bit. It's because I said if I click on this story and I read it, and it doesn't have Graham Gano's missed field goal up there as one of the reasons we lost this game, I'm going to be pissed. And he said, well, ? And he didn't put it in the damn story.
I saw that.
Missed it like Graham Gano missed the field goal. I was like, oh, Joe Person, I was going to snatch his spiky little wig off.
Dude, I just shout out to Sarah Taylor in the YouTube chat. She says she gets Facebook memories of the 2015 Super Bowl. Yeah, I do too, man. And they're painful every time. But really, if you think about it, that might be the last time. Well, it is for sure the last time that we got to see a lot of our favorite players of all time on the Panthers playing together at the highest level, man. Greg Olsen, Luke Kuechly, Cam Newton. I mean, dude, we were Jonathan Stewart. We were balling out that year, and I think it was such a pleasant surprise because no one expected us to be good going into that year. Kelvin Benjamin got hurt, which, what do you know, was a godsend. And yeah, man, just I don't know. I have bad memories about the Super Bowl, but I think we're going to be in a bunch of Super Bowls coming up here soon. So,
did y'all hear about our Super Bowl MVP? And what happened with him recently?
Our Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah, our Super Bowl MVP. Like, if we would have won, he would have been the MVP.
Oh, Coney Ely?
Yeah, he signed with the XFL in Houston.
Oh, really?
I bet a lot of players are going to start doing that.
Yep.
I predict a lot of players who are having trouble playing the league.
I wonder why he didn't work out. How do you go from having, like, the most... He had the same exact game that Von Miller had, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, not really. I think if you look at even that interception, it was a nice interception, but you're playing against the Peyton Manning that was hobbled and that was doing everything he can to be carried to his final, Super Bowl ring before he retired. So, even if you look at it, I think, we talked about, I think that Luke got a lot of people paid, right? And I think that's probably a similar, Coney Ely was not a starter in any capacity. He was attempted to be a starter with many teams, the Jets, the Patriots, all of them, and it never worked out. And that I almost want to say that if you have a Luke on your team, you're tending going to be, especially in this prime, you're going to be in a better spot moving forward. So that's why it looks so good, I think.
I hate to say it, but I feel like sometimes my thought goes to when these super athletes don't work and can't work, but you've seen like that they can play. Like I start to wonder, are they dumb? Like, what is it then? You know what I'm saying?
I really think it's as simple as they're not as good as people thought they were, and they couldn't continue to cut it on an NFL level. I mean, it's not like Coney Ealy didn't have his every opportunity to replicate that success the very next year. I mean, we just never got it from him. So,
but think about this:
some people think.
We almost gave Coney Ealy more opportunity than we did Brian Burns.
Yeah.
We did give him more opportunity.
Yeah, sure.
Brian Burns.
Ron Rivera did that.
Okay, so Coney Ealy to the XFL. Is anybody going to watch the XFL?
I am.
Fuck no, man.
Why not?
Dude, so what was the last one that was Tony? What was the
AFL?
Yeah, the AFL. Dude, people were trying to get me to get into it. Oh, what team?
It was fun, dude. It was fun.
Dude, I don't know, man. I tried. I couldn't. I mean, I'm gonna check it out. If anything, I'm interested to see how they implement the new rules. You know, because
that's what I want to see.
Yeah, and that's what I want to see too. And I'm hoping that it's good for competition, and that if it's more exciting, that the NFL is going to be like, oh, well, if it's better, then we have to change. Competition's a good thing. You know, I know that they're never going to rival the NFL like that, but if it causes the NFL to be better officiated or just a better, more fluent football game, then yeah, of course, that would be awesome.
It's AAF, Tommy Doc Barton. Yeah.
What did I say? AFL.
I think we both said AFL. Yeah, but it's AAF.
I like the one thing I like about these leagues is that just guys that there's just not a lot of room on pro rosters. Now, and so it's all about, you know, who the XFL, who's going to be really good at identifying talent from it probably is Matt Rule. He's like, I'm out there recruiting. He's going to be out there recruiting in the XFL because that's how he does it. He's got to go find these athletes that could be coached up. But let's go. I do want to just remind guys that this show is brought to you by The Athletic this week. And you can go and read the sad story by Joe Person about how these plays, the Panthers could have ultimately won the Super Bowl. I think we all need to lobby for the Graham Gano missed field goal, the doink 44 yards that could have made it 13-10 and slowed the momentum, made it a field goal type game, could help the game plan a little bit instead of having to try to win it all. And at the end, you can go read about that at The Athletic. It's a fantastic, they have the best writers when it comes to the Panthers right now, particularly with local media markets. And newspapers, should I say, struggling to find their way in this new digital era. The Athletic has made a sports page for sports fans. It's a subscription-based program or site, and no ads. And they have live Q&As. I know, CK, that's what you're into, is that you get to interact with these beat writers. Not only are they good, but you get to speak with them, and they speak back when it comes to The Athletic.
Oh yeah, and so there was an experience that I had where, you know, I asked a question to Joe Person, you know, about this was in the midst of the season. Kyle Allen was doing a stand-up job, I guess you could say, of holding down the fort, as well as a backup of his caliber can be. And Joe decided to do a Q&A, and so I typed in there, what is the general feel? You know, let's forget about what people are saying because we know political talk, right? What's the feel of the locker room? And, you know, he said just basically just avoidance, a sense of avoidance. People are avoiding the conversation. And so I thought that was really cool that you can actually have that direct communication with the people standing in front of these players with the mic. It's definitely worth reading up on because I think it's a more intimate way of reporting. So definitely worth every bit.
Each subscriber gets a personalized feed of stories, live Q&As, and more. You just get the Athletic app, pick your favorite teams, follow them, and all of a sudden you'll get the best coverage tuned in for your interest. Make sure you go to athletic.com/overtime. That's the promo code overtime. Go to athletic.com/overtime, all lowercase, theathletic.com/overtime. I'll say it one more time, theathletic.com/overtime. I feel like I have, you guys listen to podcasts, don't you, CK?
Yeah, absolutely.
You hear that one ad and it's just like /needle. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm /needle.
Yeah, just
all
keep on. Yeah.
Gosh, that's the all right. That's our plug for the Athletic. All right, so we've talked a little bit about Phil Snow. Oh, is here. I saw another story on the Athletic. Since we'll just make it the Athletic moment right now, is Jordan Rodriguez put up a story that said, and here's the title: as Matt Rule and his staff evaluate Carolina's roster, these intriguing young players merit a closer look. Here are the names that she's intrigued by, that she thinks that this coaching staff should be interested. F.A. Obata, Jermaine Carter, Marquise Haynes, Christian Miller, Curtis Samuel, Greg Little, Ian Thomas, Alex Arma, Dante Jackson. Are any of these names that interesting to you? And who is it, Cody?
Yes, a lot of them. I mean, most of those dudes were guys. I mean, Greg Little was drafted last year. Yeah, the dude's a lot of these guys have to get the benefit of the doubt. We need to see who they develop into. I still think Christian Miller could be a damn good pass rushing outside linebacker. And he even had his hand in the dirt some at Alabama. He had 8 sacks his final year. The dude has talent, man. It's just, a lot of good players never got enough snaps under Ron Rivera. So we're hoping now we do have the coaching staff that can get the most out of our young players. Because we have not done that well for a very long time, man. Either guys are still developing or they don't develop at the right trajectory, and it just ends up stunting the growth of our football team. But I would say that most of those guys, I don't think you named any big-time free agents, but, for the most part, it's now up to this brand-new coaching staff to take the talent that's on roster and see what you can do with it. All
right, yeah. I think the scary part about that list, CK, is that there are no proven commodities on that list except for maybe Curtis Samuel. And I think that's even a stretch to say.
Can we, and I'm not about to be this guy who's trying to create a copycat type of endeavor here, but would you have said anybody on the 49ers team was a proven commodity outside of Kittle?
What, last year?
Maybe Sherman, but last year, before this year. I mean, you look at that. I mean, yeah, they had a lot of potential talent, but nobody actually showed up every single play, every single game. Sherman seemed to look like he was in the back end of his career on a downward spiral. And, now we find out that, with a few tweaks here and there, these guys put the pieces together the right way. You can create dominance with the most mundane pieces as long as they're put together correctly. So it really does, boil down to coaching. So,
yeah. Well, but at the same time, Solomon Thomas, Nick Bosa, and those boys, they all of a sudden that came around pretty quickly. I think a lot of people were forecast. Do you remember? I think Solomon Thomas was on the trade block last year.
Yeah, and
let's talk about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's talk about it. If you want to talk about outside of the big QB pickup, this year and the 49ers last year are eerily similar, right? You had the pieces that should have been together. I don't think it's, and what I mean by that is they had Solomon Thomas that was drafted that year, right? Am I wrong on that?
2 years ago, I think.
2
years ago.
Yeah.
And then last year they had a high draft pick, which was Joey Bosa. And all of a sudden, they had a quarterback go down early in the season. Yeah, Nick Bosa, my bad. Had a quarterback go down early in the season, and it tanked their season. And then they had a high draft pick, and they got Nick Bosa. Now, granted, You know, that was a little bit higher
Wait.
and
How
a little
many
bit different.
Bosa's? They only got one Bosa.
No,
Joey and Nick. Joey was on the Chargers.
And
They got
Nick
both of them?
Yeah.
No.
He's on
The Chargers got Joey. The 49ers got Nick.
Okay.
Yeah. Forgive me, I misspoke earlier. But I'm just saying, you know, when you look at that, you know, the progression of how the 49ers past 3 seasons have gone, really, and then how their next year went. I'm not saying that's indicative of how the Panthers are going to go, but it is eerily similar because we're going to have a high draft pick. Presumably, it's going to be a defensive player that's supposed to be dominant on the line. And then we should hopefully have our franchise quarterback back, which the more I think about it, the more once you look at the situation with Detroit, you look at the situation with the Bengals and Miami, I can't see us really making a push for a quarterback in this draft. So I think Cam Newton comes back next year.
We will see, man. I mean, listen, I could talk about this draft stuff all day. I love it. By the way, that's a beautiful segue. Tomorrow, there is a brand new mock draft on drafttech.com. I am pouring more detail into these comments than I ever have before. And I'm trying to do some different players every week. So don't get too bogged down if you do or don't like my pick tomorrow. It's going to be a controversial one. Let's just say that. But, dude, there's options, man. There really is options. I mean, for a team that needs now a brand new inside linebacker, Isaiah Simmons is sitting there ready for the taking. If we need another run stuffing defensive tackle, Derek Brown, I mean, he's been given to us in so many mock drafts by these NFL guys. It's crazy. And then there's even tackles, man. Andrew Thomas, Tristan Riffs. I mean, there are guys sitting at 7. And a lot of people are like, well, you know, maybe trade back. And maybe we should. I don't know. But I just think that, and I said this last time, if you have the opportunity to draft a premium top 10 talent, I mean, that's why the 49ers were able to turn around, because they had these infrastructural pieces that allowed them to build their team and make them better. So I'm excited about getting, hopefully, a generational talent at whatever position we pick. And that didn't even mention that if we do move on from Cam Newton, there are 3 quarterbacks that are kind of floating around this discussion that the Panthers might be able to grab. Maybe 2 of them. So we'll see, man. It's an exciting time to be a Panthers fan.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're here every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Go ahead and subscribe. Smash the thumbs up button. We're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Call into the Cat Calls line. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go ahead and jump into those cat calls and put our ear to the ground, see what Panther Nation is talking about.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Yeah, it's Joey Esquivel. I could play blind, but I can't talk today sometimes. I got a cold and it's that time of night. But, yeah. I'm blind, and I probably could have thrown some better passes than Will Greer played through against the Saints. So, no to starting Will Greer. Matter of fact, why even draft Tua if we're going to do that shit? Let's just wait for Trevor Lawrence, because Will Greer is going to get us straight to the number 1 pick, dude. Like, he's so bad, y'all didn't even talk about him the first game he played against the Colts. And I made sure to look, too.
I believe him.
Is that the joke? I made sure to look, too?
Yeah, he made sure to look. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next call.
Dude, I don't know what's less likely, winning the Super Bowl or banging Caroline Cam. You take the pick.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
You're getting dumped. You're getting dumped, Joey. Keep it clean. Keep it clean, Joey. Y'all in this Caroline Can stuff is that Josh said, he said Caroline Can. in the chat.
No, somebody mistyped it, and I think he was joking about that.
I know.
How about all y'all need to back off anyway, because that's my boo thing. So I don't know why y'all talking about it like I'll have a chance. Okay, we got plans. She just doesn't know it yet, but we have plans.
All right. Well,
we're ruining any hope for her coming on the show. Right? I'm just kidding.
Let's see if
she'll never come on here.
Let's see. You know, she got engaged.
I don't care.
I don't care. Neither is Joey, obviously.
Engaged or married? I don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
Here, let's see if things get better with this 10-second call. I'm guessing no.
Oh, and about Drew Brees, I wouldn't want him anyway because he would have to throw outside. We don't have a dome yet, so.
Oh gosh, I feel like Joey got. All right,
next is a conversation we can have if you guys would like.
Yeah, that's a good. Hey, he's a dome quarterback. So is Matt Ryan. Man, the facts are the facts.
I believe. Hey guys, if we're gonna be quick on this, I think Drew Brees retires.
I tend to agree with you. I think that's kind of the direction it's going.
Well, so you heard what happened at the Pro Bowl, right?
Yeah, he said that his decision will be coming in next month about whether he's going to be returning. He's always going to be a Saint, is what he said.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that, though. It was so they have a Pro Bowl starter, and then as the game goes on, they have another player that comes in. Russell Wilson was supposed to be the starter for the NFC, but he sat out and let Drew Brees be the starter. So kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If it's going to be his last Pro Bowl, then let him start. Yeah, I kind of think the writing is on the wall for that. But good riddance, dude. Whatever, man.
I mean, aren't you scared? Aren't you? I mean, I'm more scared about him retiring now that Taysom Hill can be a franchise quarterback.
Dude, there's a reason that he's a gimmick. There's a reason that he's a gimmick. I mean, I think it's a smokescreen. I think they want Teddy Bridgewater all the way. They're just trying not to put his draft or his cost up any higher than it already is because they would lose so much leverage if they thought that Taysom if they thought Bridgewater was the only hope. There is a reason that Taysom didn't get a chance to play in those 5 games.
The calls are off the rails tonight, but there is a good, I think it was Alex Stark that pointed it out in the chat room, and he said that we have hired Jake Peets as quarterbacks coach. Does that sound right? Jake Peets. And he heard, and Jake Peets is associated with Alabama and was Tua's coach. The plot thickens.
So they're planning on giving Cam another quarterback coach?
If it is indeed Cam Newton, then... well,
it's not Scott Turner, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Listen, listen, I can't go super in-depth on what, specifically our quarterback coaches do for Cam Newton. But Joe Brady is the only one that matters to me. Cam Newton's fine. He's throwing motion, all that. I'm not worried about that. Joe Brady is the one that's going to be calling the offense, and his offense is superb. So to me, it doesn't necessarily matter a whole lot about who the quarterback coach is. There was a few updates. Pat Meyer is our offensive line coach, and Jason Simmons is our defensive back coach. So, yeah, we've got a few new hires.
Yeah,
it seems like hired the linebackers coach, you said?
I have not seen anything about a linebacker coach, no.
Interesting.
Tommy Doc Martin says, yep, Tua's coach in 2018. And Brad Dugan says there is a lot of buzz and noise around Phillip Rivers to the Buccaneers. Bring it.
You guys want to know who I honestly, and I'm not hoping for it, but who I can see going to the Bucs?
Who?
Tom Brady.
No.
Dude, look at this. Look at it from this perspective. You have Mike
Evans.
You have Chris Godwin. You have
Drew Brees retiring.
Horrible.
Drew Brees. You have Bruce Arians as your coach, who is a very quarterback-friendly coach.
Yeah.
If they can, I'm just saying.
Yep.
You eliminate Jameis Winston from that equation, they have a very dangerous offense. They're one really good running back away from being one of the best in the NFL.
See, I see exactly what you're saying there, and you're right. You're absolutely right. But I would say the same thing about the Chargers too. I mean, the Chargers, you got Keenan Allen, you got
Melvin Gordon,
Benjamin, whatever the guy's name is, and I mean, you got Melvin Gordon back. I mean, you've got a better offensive line and a way better defense. I mean, I think if he's looking for a place to go, it's looking for a quarterback, especially if they're getting rid of Phillip Rivers.
I would have agreed with you about San Diego because that's where Los Angeles Chargers, but just because he's from,
but you got to go through who do you got to go through, right?
You don't have to go through anybody. He's free agent.
The Chiefs,
but
you talking about team wise?
Yeah.
I think here's the thing. I think the coach is going to be a big deal with this whole thing, and I mean, I'll just be honest with you. I don't think the coaching in San Diego is going to push Tom Brady over the edge of wanting to leave New England.
I don't think San Diego's that close either. I don't think they're just one quarterback away from all of a sudden. I think now, who are you more scared of, White Jameis or Tom Brady?
Oh,
I think that's so. It's you've got to say Tom Brady because Tom Brady can, command an offense very well. But Jameis can throw that ball, deep.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he throws it to a lot of the wrong players, but
Phillip Rivers is White Jameis. Jameis, yes. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should sign Phillip Rivers and Jameis Winston and start one home and one away.
Or one even downs and one odd down.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a betting man, dude, I say Tom Brady is right back with the Patriots. They're running back for one more go. Josh McDaniels is still there. I don't know. I don't buy. There aren't too many teams to go to that need a quarterback that are a quarterback away from being able to go to the Super Bowl. I think maybe if there was a team, it might be the Chargers, just because they have good pieces on their offense and they have some good defensive players. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think who is Phillip Rivers going to go to, and all of a sudden they're a contender.
Well, see, that's the thing is, I think with players like Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady and Drew Brees, these guys who are older but are greats, I don't think anybody's looking at them as being the future, the piece they need. Kind of like they did with Peyton Manning. Denver did with Peyton Manning. I don't think there's teams looking for that. I think teams are looking for a stopgap, and who better to train the guy you draft this year than a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady? Sit behind him for a year, and then, I mean, the best quarterback in the NFL, arguably best quarterback in the NFL right now, sat down for the first year behind somebody. Aaron Rodgers sat down behind somebody for a while. There's a lot to be said about somebody who sits behind a good quarterback and learns. So.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
You know what? The thing that's going to keep Tom Brady away from Tampa Bay is all those problems they have with like MRSA and shit in their locker room. Tom Brady ain't going to fuck with that.
I guess that could be
lifestyle. His wife is a Florida lifestyle. Of course, I guess you could say something.
From what I've heard is somebody was talking about the Carolina Panthers. Apparently, she works in North Carolina all the time. Is that somebody told me that? I don't know if that's accurate or not.
No idea.
I've never heard that.
Nobody can see that skinny bitch anywhere. It's like she's so skinny, you miss her everywhere. This is where all y'all is that give me Cam's new baby mama over all them girls.
What the heck is that whole thing about him? So he got is there a third woman involved? What the heck's going on over there?
Dude, it's so much rumors. I don't know what's true. Apparently, he had a baby while he was still with Kia with another woman. I don't know. It's all.
I think it's that girl, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't know if I believe. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I don't ever see anything certain. But apparently, she's removed him from all his social media shit. But she's done that before, and it ended up like not being anything. So,
all right,
who knows, man?
Let's go to this call. Let's see. Have I played this one?
What's going on, C3? It's Theo from Asheville. I haven't really been calling in as much, but I'm definitely still enjoying the show. You guys are having some great debates about the off season. With the whole draft coming up, and it's basically impossible for us to trade up and get Joe Burrow. I do like the Tua option, or I was kind of thinking, which I don't really know why nobody's mentioning, is the Andy Dalton option. He's going to be a free agent this year. And, if you're just looking for a stopgap, somebody to fill in for a year, I don't really think he's that bad of an option. If you're going to lose Cam, maybe get some draft picks out of that. I don't know if I necessarily agree that he's a great quarterback, but he's won a lot of games with a terrible Bengals team, and with them getting a new quarterback, I think it's inevitable that Andy Dalton's probably not going to start.
Yeah, I think he's a free agent, though.
Really want to play, fiddle.
All this makes me so fucking sad.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. He probably wouldn't cost as much as most of these other guys, like, a.k.a. Teddy Bridgewater and whatnot. But, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on.
All right, so the idea of Carolina at this point with I can't even think of a name that's going to make me happy that isn't Cam Newton. What name would be
drafting or anything?
Well, drafting, I think the only one I would be happy with is Tua.
Okay.
That's the only one I'll be happy with because I don't think Burrow is possible. And I don't even really think Tua is possible, to be honest, at this point. Unless we're going to...
I don't think he's going to be...
Y'all see these seeds I planted growing? Look at them. Planted seeds about 2 months ago, just growing. Everybody's talking to him.
You think he's going to be available?
I've seen a couple mock drafts with him falling to us.
Not a chance. He's not. There's no way.
There's so many teams that need a quarterback. Did you say you'd be interested in Andy Dalton?
No. I want to address the Andy Dalton call. The comment he said.
Go ahead.
He was talking about what. And here's my thing with Andy Dalton is Andy Dalton's not a great quarterback. Andy Dalton reminds me of Matt Ryan. When you put him in a system that has great players with it, he can throw the ball well, and he doesn't do too bad, but he's not a guy that's going to win the game for you. He's not a game changer. He's not a guy that you would be the face of your franchise when you're there. I think the whole time he's been there, they drafted A.J. Green and Andy Dalton the same year as Cam Newton in 2011. So he's the same age as Cam Newton. And A.J. Green is the face of that franchise, not Andy Dalton. And that's the reason why. It's because Andy Dalton is not a good enough quarterback to step
neither
up
of them are there anymore now, right? Is that like they're about to all be gone?
AJ has one more year, I think.
Yeah.
But then you have to pay him.
There's no way we're getting 2 at 7. It's just very simple. Is that I say that's impossible.
But the thing is, moving to 4 or 5 as opposed to 1 is a lot easier to get to if we wanted him.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the only name. Is there any name that would even be remotely interesting to you guys that is a free agent right now?
Free agent? So, no, because in my mind, it doesn't matter who we bring in. I think we're going to try and draft and develop our own instead of having to pay a quarterback from another place. So I think no matter who it is, it's not going to be a sexy pick. Like we said, they're going to bring in someone and then probably hope to develop someone else underneath them. So really, Andy Dalton does nothing for me. But, again, none of these guys do. None of the free agents do. I guess I would prefer Andy Dalton over Phillip Rivers at this point.
Really?
Yeah, what are you talking about? You hate Phillip Rivers.
I do hate Phillip Rivers, but I never even thought Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers is older. He has a worse arm, I would say.
Andy Dalton is terrible, man. He's terrible. This is silly. Get this mess out of there.
Average.
He made the playoff like 7 years in a row. Andy Dalton did.
Matt Ryan if he played on the Bengals
every year.
Yeah,
Well, I think the Matt Ryan comp is all right, but Matt Ryan is he's way better than Andy Dalton. It's not even a question.
So slightly better weapons too.
If we sign Andy Dalton and let Cam walk,
I'm not even doing this shit.
I just don't. I don't see Andy Dalton. No.
I'm just saying. A lot of he might be cheaper than Cam as far as this year in particular, but I mean, it's just another situation where you're just kind of a stopgap measure. There is no chance in my mind that Andy Dalton comes in and he just makes a run as our franchise quarterback all of a sudden, right? There is a chance that
he's the next Tannehill.
If you sign Andy Dalton, what you're doing is really just hoping that we tank or something. You know, there is not a hope for success. You know, at least with Cam, you have a hope for success and keeping a franchise quarterback without having to do a complete rebuild. So I know we were kind of on the downward slide with Cam last week. This week after processing everything, looking at the draft boards and realizing I just don't see a situation where we don't keep Cam at this point.
That's what I've been saying. The other thing is that if somehow there is next year, the Carolina Panthers trot out Andy Dalton, you might as well tear out all the fucking seats in the stadium, not just those 400 in the end zone.
Oh God, yes.
That's the only way you're getting a new stadium, because we're gonna rip that shit down. Andy Dalton's a quarterback.
So listen, man. Obviously, I want Cam Newton to come back. That's my number one option. But if we're gonna start talking quarterbacks, I'm telling you, if we're gonna get into it in the draft, I'll end up selling y'all on Justin Herbert. I don't think
Justin Herbert makes it to 7 after his show, and like he had an incredible Senior Bowl.
He did awesome, man, and he was did most of it from under center, throwing lasers. He was throwing passes with accuracy and touch. I mean, guys, you can't teach 6'6", 230 pounds, and can move and has a cannon for an arm. You know.
So here's the situation. Okay, you have Cincinnati guaranteed to take Burrow. You have Detroit, who is saying that they have an issue with possibly Stafford not being healthy and him having a much more serious issue with his injury. So let's even take them out of the equation. We fast forward to Miami. Miami's going to be on the market for a QB. So there goes, within those three options, there goes Burrow and Tua. Now guess who's number 6? LA Chargers.
Yeah.
Who did they just say they were moving? They're moving away from. So they're moving again. So they are now the third team, possibly the fourth team, in need of a quarterback within the top 6. I don't think he gets down to us, honestly, especially after he's showing in the Senior Bowl.
I think there's a good chance you're right, man. Because I'm sitting here looking at all these mock drafts, and Tua and Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow are all going really, really quickly. But you got to remember too, there's a ton of quarterbacks on the market this year. Like, there's never this many quarterbacks on the market this year. And although some of them are old, if Miami or the Chargers take one of these quarterbacks, that changes the whole game up.
Yeah.
So it is possible, depending on what happens in free agency.
That is what I'm hoping for, to be perfectly honest. Because again, this is all predicated on what happens with Cam. So, I mean, obviously, if we're not moving on, then who cares? We get Cam Newton back. But, I think something important to remember is that if we're in love with the quarterback, and if we see there's a scenario where the teams ahead of us that need one didn't necessarily fill that need in free agency, then we're talking about looking to call Washington, call Detroit, call the Giants, and see who's willing to trade. I think if you want to grab one of those dudes, if you're in love with them, go get them. Especially if you think that's the franchise, then 100% go get them.
Yeah.
So Alex Stark had a pretty interesting comment. He said someone had a thumbnail of Herbert in a Panthers jersey and helmet, and it looked official. If you look at Herbert, he looks like he's from LA. He is going. I mean, just if you look at from a pure comfort position, I think LA is where he would prefer to be. He looks like he should be there.
No.
What's the
Well, I was gonna say
weakness
the
of
only-
his game, Cody? What's the weakness of his game?
Oh, Herbert.
So listen, Justin Herbert is everyone's going to knock him for his consistency. Really, he was kind of the same quarterback all 3 years that he played. There was never a giant jump. His decision making at times isn't there. He holds on to the ball a little bit too long. But I want to preface this. And in 4 years of being a starter at Oregon, he had 3 different offensive coaching staffs that all did different things. He was in the pistol his senior year. He was in something called a Gulf Coast offense the year before, and then a completely different one the year before that. So you're talking about year after year, he was asked to do something fundamentally different than he was asked to do the year before. Add on top of that, they ran from the pistol, but they also did a lot of getting the ball out quick to his first read on bubble screens and stuff like that. But then they also had plays where he had to go through progressions and read the field. And sometimes his judgment would lapse. And I kind of think that's because he was asked to do both things part-time instead of one of them full-time. But he's an incredibly intelligent dude. When you listen to his interviews, he's mature. He's saved for another year to try and grow and become better as a football player. I would have no problem drafting Justin Herbert. There are players that you just bet on, and I would have no problem betting on Justin Herbert.
Okay.
I watched just his highlight tape. That's it from this past year. And the 2 things that I saw, well, one I didn't see. One was he did tend to look like, a college quarterback, they all do this, is that they have a guy that they're trying to go to. And look, why is it saying that we're already running out of time? I swear I made it for longer than this. So guys, we're going to actually wrap up the show pretty quickly because Shindig is kicking us like crazy out of here. But I thought he was he looked a little too hard at that first read all the time. And the other was just something that was absent from the tape, Cody. And that was, I didn't see the deep ball. And I know that you mentioned this when we were talking on Twitter or whatever, that's a system thing. But still, I didn't get to see it. And, it's a kind of a special, the deep ball is a special thing. And it's something that we've been lacking in Carolina. And a lot of teams that have quarterbacks that can't throw the deep ball find themselves quickly limited.
Yeah, I don't know what highlight videos you looked at, but I would personally say that's his specialty. I think that's what he does best. When you look at his career highlights, the dude has a cannon for an arm. He can push the ball downfield, especially on seam throws. Man, he can throw the ball right down the seam, and he throws with great ball placement. He's able to anticipate throws and throw receivers open. And he did not have a good receiving core at Oregon. Like there were not a lot of players that were very tall or very fast, I find. So I feel like he really didn't have a lot of trust in that offense. So he would kind of be hesitant to throw the ball because he didn't know if his receivers had enough separation or if they were running the right route. I don't know. Something just seemed off. But I would say the deep ball is something that Herbert excels at. And if you wanted to incorporate that into our offense, especially in Joe Brady's system, dude, Justin Herbert could be a magic trick pick for us if that's who he ends up becoming under Joe. But we'll see, man.
Let's power through this call. Let's see if I can squeeze a couple more calls in before we get out of
Hi
here.
there, everyone. Rich in London. I
What's
like
up,
what I'm
Rich?
hearing coming out of the new coaching staff. I think if you're running a team, it's always best to work out what's your best talent and how to use it, and then fit in accordingly. For example, Brian Burns might be the best young piece we've now got on D. So create a system that maximises that, pick other players that maximise that, and go from there. Do I get props yet for saying we screwed up last year's draft after last year? I still quite like the players we got, but I think we went about it all wrong. slightly concerned Marty Herney's still involved. But I'm happy and busy doing mock drafts using Cody's draft tech. Otherwise we're good and we'll see how we go. In terms of re-signing people, my God, we've got a lot of people. I wouldn't overpay James Bradbury. I just don't think he's good enough to utilise more than about 10 or 11 mil. I mean, if he wants more than that, I think we're in trouble. And I would think twice. An interesting thing with the draft coming is that Derek Brown and Isaiah Simmons are getting so much buzz that I wonder whether Okuda might drop to us, which would be fantastic. Anyway, enjoy the work and keep having me. I'm going to be there in March and I'm going to be catching up with my man Cody Lashney. So anyway, guys, take care. Keep on it.
Fantastic. That's Rich Kingston from the UK. And the Okuda, if he fell to the Panthers at 7, all of a sudden that defense, that secondary goes from being a weakness to a strength.
Oh, man, dude. So, again, I haven't been, like, really breaking down film for a ton of years. Really, like, three good years I've been doing it. And just in my time, Jeffrey Okuda is the best corner that I've seen in college. I liked him better than Jalen Ramsey, better than Marshawn Lattimore. Dude, Okuda's a beast. And he is the very definition of a shutdown corner. And sometimes you don't pass on those types of players. He would be fantastic. Like I said, man, right now I can think of about 4 or 5 different players that we could grab at number 7 that would be just phenomenal pickups for the Panthers. And that's not even considering Javon Kinlaw, who's getting a lot of buzz too as a terror in the middle. Yeah, Javon Kinlaw is a beast. Everyone's comparing him to Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a powerful dude, man. Strong dude, and he would definitely add to our defense. So
all right,
we have options, man.
Let's check this next call.
E3, Simple Southern Customs here. I now have the number saved in my phone as a contact, so I'm here for the pettiness. I'm here for the scores. I'm here for it all.
Appreciate you, man.
I gotta bust Greg's balls a little bit. For some reason, it feels like Greg's popping bones for Tua. I don't know why.
I am. Not Greg.
What is a love affair with Tua? And I guess another question would be, would you rather have a healthy Cam Newton or a healthy Tua?
Oh, God.
Obviously, I think everybody's going to go Cam here. But, again, that's part of my point as well. Why should that question have to be asked about somebody who doesn't even have a year under his belt yet? I mean, the headline stories are, can Tua do it in the NFL? He's hurt. He's constantly hurt. I mean, hip injuries knows nothing to sneeze at. I had a hip injury in high school, and I'm still struggling with it. But, I mean, I don't want to have that concern. We're having the concern now with Cam. I think they need to give Cam that year. I think they owe it to Cam for what all he's done for this organization. But, I mean, with Tua, why do you want to ask those questions without even a year under his belt? It doesn't make sense to me. It feels like trying to go into the same boat already. I mean, let's try it with Cam first and see how it goes. If not, hashtag tank for Trev. All right, T3, take it easy.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call, man.
Let me take this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right,
think you have to.
Busting my balls. That's cool. That actually wasn't really busting my balls. I was just kind of asking the question, but that was cool. No, I don't have a thing for Tua. I do think he's an amazing quarterback because he's putting up stats that are comparable to the best quarterbacks in college football, and he's not even playing most of the time in the fourth quarter. So he's playing, 75% of the time these other guys are playing, and he's still putting up these numbers. It's insane. But I agree with you. I think that it is risky because he is injury prone. You don't know what they're going to be till they get the pros. And I've said that before, that the thing I think we should do is stay with Cam. I just don't know if that's what they're going to do. I'm a realist. I'm not an optimist. Like, I know what would be nice, but I look at what I think is going to happen. And that's why I've been talking about Tua, because it just seems like that's the play they're kind of the Carolina's going for. So that's my thing. But anybody else?
Well, I think for me the look is that there's nobody that's I won't say is I love Cam Newton. I want to see Cam Newton hoist the Lombardi and Bank of America. But over the past couple of months, and since this injury and the bizarre nature of his kind of exodus from the Panthers in the season, you know what I'm saying? Like this weird distance and like whatever, this is just a lot of weirdness around it. And then you get the chatter of Carolina moving on, thinking about this, moving on. Then you get the news that Cam would rather go. Like, we talked about this for hours last week about why, the reasons that Cam potentially might not be in Carolina. So I think for me, the thing with Tua that is exciting is that you see these young quarterbacks out there, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, even the old hat now, Russell Wilson, who's the old hat of came in after Cam. There's an excitement there, and I think that for me with Tua, that I really believe that he would, like, if it wasn't for this injury right here, I still don't even know. I still think a team might take Tua over Burrow.
Possibly, and I want to point out too that when we're talking about comparing Cam and Tua, Cam's been pretty injury prone the last couple of years too. So would you rather have a guy, and this is just, arguing to the side, would you rather have a guy who's 10 years younger and, has some of the same, maybe the same skill set, but is just as injury prone? Or, and also Cam's going to be cheap next year, but the new CBA is coming out. So if you're going to get a quarterback and have him for that 5 years in the first round deal, now's when you're going to want to do it, because in 2 years you may not know what the CBA is going to do for rookie quarterback.
Yeah, there was some great points, but let me differentiate. They are not similar skill sets almost at all. With the amount of rushing ability that Cam had, you're not going to use Tua necessarily the same way, which is fine. You don't want to use him that way. I think
he's more like a Russell Wilson.
Dude, I think
you always say Drew Brees.
Yeah, he's a more athletic, more mobile version of Drew Brees. Now, when I say mobile, I don't mean he's taken off sometimes. He can do it if he needs to, if there's an open run lane. But ideally, his movement is going to come from extending the play, moving outside the pocket, and throwing the football on the run. And he does all those things incredible. One of the things that talk about Joe Burrow this year, if you listen to any draft talk, is it said Joe Burrow, he has this incredible deep ball. He can throw the ball all over the field, but he doesn't necessarily have a lot of arm talent. He doesn't have the biggest arm in the world. He doesn't have that Patrick Mahomes kind of arm. And it's really a testament that you don't need to have an arm like that, because Tua Tagovailoa doesn't have it either. But he throws with beautiful touch, anticipation. He's able to just layer the ball where it's an easy ball to catch. It's where it needs to be. It's on time. A lot of being a quarterback is just due diligence. And Tua does all of that. Goes through his progressions well. I would love to have him. He's not very comparable to Cam in style. But, like our caller said, it is a legitimate criticism. If you cannot stand up to an SEC West schedule, why is there any reason to think that you're going to be able to hold up better in the NFL? Like, it's a legitimate question, and it's not one that I'm willing to just brush off, and no one should either, because it is a real concern.
Well, you would also hate for you to be paralyzed by the ankle, two different ankles. And then, if the hip is a real concern, like if it is going to be like a degenerative type injury, or really has changed the way he is going to perform in the future, then let's have that discussion. But those ankle injuries, while they were there, is like they also like repaired him, and he came back and played. And I would just hate to, if you have an opportunity. It just really depends on what the Panthers want to do. Do they want to? Yeah. Do they see Cam Newton in do they see a Cam Newton in a Carolina Panthers jersey beyond 2020 is the real answer to how we approach this. If it is kinda, yeah, franchise, yeah, maybe extension, yeah, then let's talk about getting some other players. But if you have some real concerns about Cam Newton beyond 2020 and you're the Carolina Panthers management and the Tepper's in on that, I would not, you got to strike when you have an opportunity. The question is, I don't know if we're close enough to get him. It's going to cost us. But I do like to, I think he is a pretty much a proven commodity. And, I think he would be that's the only name at quarterback I'd be interested in.
Yeah, and then Brad Dugan in the chat mentioned Trevor Lawrence. And listen, I'm a Clemson fan. Everyone knows I would love Trevor on this team for the next however many years. But there's just no guarantee. Nothing's guaranteed. There's no guarantee that we're going to be in the position to draft Trevor, which is probably going to be the number 1 pick, or let alone even have a top 10 pick. If we're picking from 11 to 15, it doesn't matter. That's out the window. It's a bad season that isn't bad enough to get the guy that you want. So, I don't know. And that's why I really think, people are going to say now, like Greg was pushing Tua down people's throat. I'm pushing Justin Herbert. I'm not pushing anyone right now. All I'm saying is that I think that if we're going to consider drafting quarterbacks, I think people are really down on Justin Herbert for a lot of the wrong reasons. When you dig a little bit like I don't do my quarterback rankings like everyone else does. Every year, my top quarterbacks always look a little bit different than everyone else's. I was higher on Dwayne Haskins last year than a lot of other people were. I still think Dwayne can be a good quarterback. But I really do think that the people that are judging Justin Herbert too premature kind of need to look at some of the context behind the criticisms that they're hearing. Because I think there is just so much upside to Justin Herbert that if the Carolina Panthers were going to move on, he's probably not going to be the highest rated. Well, we know he's not going to be the highest rated. So, if that's your guy and Tua's gone to Miami or Detroit, whatever, go get the guy.
All right. We're kind of winding down the show. The Super Bowl is on Sunday, and the 49ers and the Chiefs, to me, this is one of the most exciting Super Bowls, and I feel like we had this conversation a little bit last week on the show, is that the Super Bowls have not been particularly intriguing to us as fans, whether it be, the Eagles and the Patriots, having to watch the Patriots against the Eagles, the Patriots against the Falcons. And, there really hasn't been anything that has been all that embraced us and drawn us in. But this has to be the best Super Bowl matchup I can remember in a good while. And that you've got the best offense, or the savant Andy Reid, the great Patrick Mahomes versus that killer-ass defense and that run attack. It's a little bit of something for everybody when it comes to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about it, man. It's a battle of two different styles of football, and I'm interested to see that. Who do y'all think is going to take it? That's the question.
I got the 49ers.
Yeah, I think defense wins championships. I think I don't know, dude. It really is tough, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm
well, you have a really good defense from the Chiefs, so I mean, it's really hard to do that. But I think when you look at, I hate to bring it up because it's bad memories, but the Panthers, we had a really good defense. We had a very good offense, and we were going against a team that had the best defense and an okay offense. Right? It was managing. It was working.
Yeah.
Well, now you have the Chiefs, who I think are similar to the Panthers 2015, where you have dynamic, explosive offense that can score on any play, and then you have the defense that you can trust. You didn't have to worry about them, which is the Chiefs. And then now you go to the 49ers, and you have a team that's very similar, except for I think they're a little more explosive on offense, but they have a pass rush that's going to be able to get to Patrick Mahomes in a hurry. But as I said last week, I think that this game plays well into what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes do best, which is the screen pass and the
There's going to be like 1,000 screen passes in this game.
You think so?
Oh, gosh, yeah. It's going to be they're going to have to very well be disciplined because that's the only way that the 49ers come out of this. And I think that this is the team to do it because they've been disciplined all season. There's been a few mistakes here or there, but that offense, even an interesting stat that I heard on Pat McAfee show was when a team is behind, the QBR, the best quarterback in the NFL from playing from behind, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G.
I mean,
yeah.
I believe it. I think
that's what his
also
porn star girlfriend said too.
That's one of those things where stats may be deceiving for you. I think I'm not sure.
Well,
but
no,
look, as they put up.
Mine too.
Listen, look at the Saints game. Look at the Saints game. Their defense failed them, and then they still went, touchdown for touchdown, shot for shot, every single. So I mean, I'm not.
And the Saints' defense was not bad this year. So this is not the typical Saints team that just beat everybody with offense. That defense carried a lot of that team. I agree there. I think this is I think that the San Francisco 49ers have been the best team all season out of the two. You know, if you could take away Baltimore, which the playoffs did, is that probably leaves San Francisco with the best football season in totality after Baltimore. But when it comes to the Chiefs, though, is that they had some problems early on, but they've really just gotten better and better every week. The defense has gotten better. Patrick Mahomes is recovered from a dislocated knee, and he's out there balling. And so I think that my pick has been the 49ers, and I think that is I don't see why I should change it, but I tell you, I think I'm maybe rooting for the Chiefs. Yeah.
I'm rooting for the 49ers.
But I mean, look, Andy Reid hasn't been to this. This is his arguably, potentially, he only has so much time left. He hasn't been in a Super Bowl in 17 years since he was with Philadelphia. The Chiefs have only made it one time in 50 years. The window's closing. So if you want the Andy Reid to kind of have that Hall of Fame moment as a coach, this is it. And San Francisco, if they don't win, they could be back next year. I just don't know how long, Andy Reid himself, I mean, he don't look like he's in the best shape.
Yeah. I think that I'm with agreement with all you guys. I think that the Niners take this one unless Kansas City can stop the Niners run game. I think if they shut down the 49ers run game.
And they did it against Tennessee. But it's a completely different run game. That's the thing.
Yeah, their offense is so motion oriented. It's hard to stop the run game against that 49ers team.
Oh, I agree.
That I'm wanting to see going into this matchup is what Andy Reid and the Kansas City offense, how they decide to attack San Fran's defense. Because if you remember when the Panthers played San Francisco, we had one of the better defenses in the NFL at that point in time. But Kyle Shanahan would not let us pin our ears back and just get into that pass rushing stance. He would not let that happen. I kind of wonder how much Kansas City is going to look to run the football. They're definitely not a run-first football team. But
who is even their running back? We don't even know who their running back is.
Damian Williams, who was a late-round pick out of LSU. They have a
game last week.
Yeah. And they've been playing well. I don't know. So listen, I think I'm gonna pull a switcheroo, man. I think I kind of think the Chiefs are gonna get it done. I think this is a team of I hate to say a team of destiny. It sounds so stupid and cornball, But I think that they're going to capitalize on the moment. I'm definitely pulling for Kansas City. I'm definitely not surprised if San Fran wins, but I think the Chiefs are going to pull it off.
I think one thing that I mean, just because San Francisco's defense has been so good, it's hard for me to remember to say this, but when I've watched Kansas City play these two playoff games, I have said multiple times their offense cannot be stopped. Like it's like impossible to stop these guys. So is San Francisco the only team, the only moment that it can be stopped? Because I tell you, I mean, these guys have been down, and I mean, they ain't blinking, man. They can put up points in a heartbeat. It's going to be hard to keep them shut out. Like, I don't all of a sudden see the Kansas City Chiefs pulling the Panthers and scoring whatever we scored in the Super Bowl, 7.
No.
Whatever it was.
No way. No way. I've been comparing them to a bomb, man. Once it goes off, you don't undo it.
I will say that, but didn't we say the same thing last year with the Rams, who had that amazing offense, and the Patriots going to Super Bowl, and we got a 13-3?
But there was some suspect with that offense as soon as Gurley was missing.
Yeah,
their plan had to change in a pretty abrupt way, but I mean, they weren't able to pass the football either. So we'll see, man. I don't know. I do think the matchups favor Kansas City. I mean, any matchup is going to favor Kansas City. Like, Richard Sherman's not a burner. He's not going to be able to cover Tyreek Hill. I mean, who can cover Tyreek Hill? Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. They're going to depend on that pass rush. San Fran knows that they can't match up corner to receiver, so they're going to ask their defensive line to get home, and they're going to hope that affects them. That's why I said I wonder how much Kansas City is going to run the football, because I think it'd be better if they just didn't let them have the opportunity to pin their ears back and get after Patrick Mahomes.
Dude, I think you just double Kelsey, you double Hill, and then you make somebody else beat you. That's what you got to do.
I mean, Mecole Hardman, Samuel Watkins.
I was about to say,
dude.
That's a hard.
Dude.
I mean, but that's probably the best strategy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the other thing is don't play soft because you're scared of their speed, because you play 9 yards off on this team and they're going to get 12 every time. Just because they get that ball and they get going so fast. I mean, there have been plays, that Tyreek Hill guy, there's plays that you're like, this play has got nothing. And all of a sudden it's a 13-yard game.
I do want to ask, though, don't you think that could be kind of a strategy, though, is to play off? Because where Kansas City kills you is the fact that they can strike so quick. 3 plays, 45 seconds, they score a touchdown. That's where they kill you at. If you can make it so that way they're having to have 6-7 minute 12-play drives, and then you're San Francisco and you can milk the clock like you do running the ball and stop them one time, that may be a good strategy to like let them burn the clock up. Because they're big,
would understand
that. How fast they can hit you.
I would understand that, but here's the thing. If you're playing soft, right, you're asking for them to be just short game, screen game. Those are their strengths. The only way I think that the 49ers win this is if their pass rush gets home. And the only way that's going to happen is if you take away that short game. That's going to leave the secondary open. But you've got to bet that your pass rush is going to be able to get to Pat Mahomes fast enough to where he's out of the pocket and he's having to improvise. Even though he's really good on the run, but that is the only way. So I agree with everybody. I think for the most part, I think everybody has a decent game plan. I think the hardest thing is I do believe that you have to almost let the deep ball be a priority for them, because that means Pat's got to be holding on to the ball a lot longer. So
yeah,
it'll be fun. I'm pumped for it. I'm pumped for it. I'm ready.
What are our do we have scores?
Oh, ooh. I think there will be some points in this. I'm going to say 24-17 Chiefs. I changed my mind at the last second.
Okay. I'm going to say 31-28 San Fran.
Wow, that's a lot of points.
I think it's going to be an interesting one.
Go ahead.
I think it's going to be a one of the more high scoring Super Bowls that we've ever seen. Even though we are going against some of the better defenses, I think it's going to be similar to the Saints game where everybody has 40. I think the 49ers are going to have 40, 48, 49. Let me say 49, and then I think the Chiefs have 42.
Holy cow!
49. Wow.
I'm also gonna go high, man. I'm gonna say 41-37, and I'll say Kansas City 41-37. And I kind of think so. This is my advanced prediction. I kind of think that Kansas City is gonna pour it, or rather, San Fran's gonna pour it on. Kind of like how these last two playoff games are going for Kansas. Kansas City's gonna get in the hole, and then they're gonna turn it on. And they're going to get the lead on San Francisco, but I think San Francisco is going to be able to match them,
punch back,
and be able to punch back and be able to put points on the board. I mean, George Kittle is a monster, dude. I mean, that is a weapon, and more importantly, Kyle Shanahan knows how to use those weapons. I mean, we saw what he did to Carolina, so yeah, I think it'll be an awesome one.
All right, you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're live Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Cat Calls line is 252-228-5098. Go ahead and call in to the Cat Calls line over the next couple of days. Maybe CK can put together we can put together some things that, give you a little taste of some of the things that we couldn't get to tonight in tonight's broadcast. Let's go ahead. I think we've talked, pretty much about the Panthers and what's going on with the Super Bowl, and there's really nothing else, I think, pressing for this evening other than the Ice Up picks. And that's where the longest running segment on the C3 Panthers podcast, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, get it together, our homage to Steve Smith. Guys, has anybody got a burning desire to start the Ice Up picks tonight?
Yeah.
I think you do. Or sorry, go ahead.
Well, I normally never go first because I'm always searching at the last minute for a good Ice Up pick, but I actually have one. So Robert Deitch, I guess, on Twitter says Fox Sports execs have made it clear if Greg Olsen is interested in becoming a broadcaster next year, they will absolutely offer him an analyst job, which we all know this, right? But then Omar Kelly, who is a beat writer, he has a check mark. I've seen his name a bunch before, replies to this, quote tweets it, and says, someone is going to have to explain to me why every former athlete allowed to get a TV job is a tight end. Which doesn't make a damn bit of sense to me, because when I named them off the top of my head, I think Tony Romo, Troy Aikman, Booger McFarland. Like, no, there aren't really a lot of Jason Witten.
I think he's thinking Tony Gonzalez. I think he's thinking
Tony Gonzalez. He's Jason Witten.
Shannon Sharp.
And Jason Witten was terrible.
I know, but I think that's part of it, is that he saw that, and I think that, honestly, I think that's probably the only one that he could probably recall, if I'm being honest with you.
So,
I think,
yeah. No, you're
no Rob Gronkowski taking over Monday Night Football at the moment. That would be the best feeling. I heard that ESPN is ready to back up the Brinks truck to get Tony Romo.
I'm sure Tony or Greg Olsen, but yeah, Tony
or Peyton Manning.
Manning
said that he would be willing to go.
Yeah, Peyton Manning is another one that's good at it. But so I'm icing up Omar Kelly for this dumbass tweet. But you know what? I'm not the only one icing up Omar Kelly. Greg Olsen himself is icing up Omar Kelly, because Greg Olsen replied with a quote tweet. So what the original question was by Omar, someone is going to have to explain to me why every former athlete allowed to get a TV job is a tight end. Well, Greg Olsen responds, same answer I give people who question my football career. Go check the tape. It's all out there.
Blast. On blast.
So Greg Olson is icing up Omar Kelly, and so am I. Omar, ice up, son.
Trail One says ice up that CNN chick for that called Kobe the N-word.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Can I go?
I don't. Yeah. Did you see the apology? I didn't hear it. I just read her apology. It's like she combined the word Lakers and Knicks together to say the Nakers.
But can we have a little common sense for a second? Like, okay, what a worse moment to decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to let out all my inner racist trappings after Kobe Bryant just died, and I'm going to say it on air. Like, come on, dude. She obviously fucked up and didn't mean to say that. I mean, and it does sound like that's what she said. But come on, you have to be a special kind of stupid to throw around the N-word after Kobe Bryant just died. Come on, man.
Brad Dugan says he's icing up TMZ for breaking the news that Kobe died before the families were notified.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And hey, actually, all this Kobe talk actually walks me right into my ice up pick. If you don't care if I go,
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Is obviously everybody knows Kobe Bryant tragically was killed. Him and his daughter and 7 other people in the helicopter wreck Sunday. I'm a big basketball fan. I'm a Lakers fan, so and I know that has nothing to do with anything that's going on with it, but it's tough. And I'm icing up everybody on the internet or any kind of newscaster or anybody who's posting stuff about how, well, let's not forget he was accused of rape and all this stuff. They bring up that kind of stuff because I don't hope. How about this? Imagine something like this happens to you or your family, and all anybody wants to do is drag up stuff from 15 years ago that has been resolved, and you've changed your life since then. And that's all people want to do is drag that kind of stuff up in the moment of your death and what's going on with your family. And I just can't believe, man, read the room. You can't do that kind of stuff right now. Maybe if you want to talk about it later. But now's not the right time, man. I don't care what you thought about the guy. He's a world icon, and it was a tragic death of him and a bunch of other people. And terrible thing that happened. But to all those anybody else reporting, posting all this kind of stuff, stop doing it, man. Ice up, leave the man alone. Like, let his family mourn. It's a tough time right now.
So just to let you know, it finally crashed, Cody. It's over.
As Greg was doing his ice up.
No, but they got yours. Yours went through, and I'm recording it for the audio version.
Everybody can still get.
So do you want to just continue then?
Yeah, my ice up pick is just going to be Kareem Hunt, and he was cited on the 21st for not cited. Actually, he was let go. But he was all talking to the cop and stuff. I mean, he just got caught with weed. Poor Kareem Hunt just can't stay out of trouble. And I was going to ice up Greg for thinking that Chase Blackburn was going to anchor our linebacking core. But I feel like they've come after you enough. So that's my ice up pick. Nothing sexy. And I have not researched Trump's plan to solve the Middle East problem enough yet to ice that one up. But this tunnel between the West Bank and Gaza. If Donald Trump is like this, is that, you know how we had that moment, like all of a sudden North Korea is going to come back into the flow of the world. That went away. They're back to being North Korea. Like, if he, it's world peace, we're going to be like, what the fuck? Peace in the Middle East, and it's under Donald Trump, would be amazing. So my ice up pick is Kareem Hunt. Nothing good.
All right. So first, before I get into it, I want to, since we brought up Greg Olson, something that leads me to believe that Greg Olson is about to retire. Did you guys see his tweet about Kobe Bryant?
Oh, no.
He said he recently had read, not too long before the death of Kobe, an article that Kobe did an interview, and he had talked about how his time away from basketball has been incredible because he's been able to spend so much more time with his family, has been able to focus on them and be a present father and a husband that he hadn't been able to be for a while. And, Greg said that he took that to heart. And obviously that's impactful, not only just from what Kobe said, but from what we expect from Greg this year. You kind of wonder, is that the writing on the wall, and was that maybe a little bit of information being leaked out there? I think that's an interesting tweet to put out there, and to have that be the focus point of that interview, because Kobe has done a lot of things, and to have that be the primary point of your tweet makes me think that maybe Greg is about to retire. So, but nonetheless, my ice up, pretty basic. I think we can all agree that this is a short window for the Chiefs. They have no ability to pay everybody on their roster. Specifically, they have not yet paid their star quarterback, and I guess their front office is in belief that they are going to be able to get out of this offseason without actually having to extend Mahomes. I don't know if you guys know, but he had MVP last year. He's in the Super Bowl this year. There is no way on God's green earth that Patrick Mahomes plays next year without a new contract. No way in life whatsoever. Patrick Mahomes is very confident, and I promise you, he believes that organization needs him way more than he needs them. So he has a lot of leverage, and I feel like it's very likely that he's going to get paid this offseason. So to the office executives that are in a position where they're just trying to really get a little bit of negotiating leverage, ice up, because you clearly have not done your job long enough to understand how this is going to go down with a quarterback who has been as dominant as Patrick Mahomes has this early in his career. So ice up, Chiefs executives, ice up.
All right, it's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. We're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Subscribe to everything, and like us wherever you're at. And follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. How can they get after you on Twitter, Cody?
You're muted.
Silent, Cody. I can't hear you.
Cody's muted. CK, where can they find? Oh, there he is.
My bad. There. Yeah, you can find me at Cody Lax, CODYLAC. Hit me up. There is a brand new mock draft tomorrow on Draft Tech. I'm really putting a lot of love and care into these. I'm putting links so that way you can see what I'm talking about. And check it out, man. Carolina Panthers first and second round comments. And the Houston Texans, because I also write for them too, because they pay me. So, yeah, that's it.
All right, CK, on Twitter, where can they get after you?
You can get me at Codizzle Allen, CODIZZLEALLEN. So I think next week I'm just going to write it back here.
There you go. There you go. Bat Daddy, where can they find you on Twitter?
Just like that, man, at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter. You can also check me out at SCS Podcast 1 on Twitter. It's the handle for my other show. If you like movies, comics, TV shows, stuff like that, check us out.
It's called the Super Civil Servants Podcast. You guys got to listen to it for the latest kind of, I would say, strangely, nerd culture is becoming pop culture.
Yeah. That's why I started to call it pop culture, but yeah.
It's been that way for years now, man.
All right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast. We'll be back with you next Tuesday, guys.
Have a good one. Keep pounding.
Adios.
Yeah.
Nice buns, soft, fluffy, and ultra low net carbs. Discover Hero Bread, the delicious ultra low net carb bread with incredible taste and texture. Hero Bread has 0 grams of sugar and is under 100 calories per serving. Plus, high in fiber with 5 to 10 grams of protein per serving. Order from hero.co now and get 10% off your first purchase with promo code AH10. That's 10% off with code AH10. HERO.co.